And we have so many wonderful experts here in Europe. And I have the utmost honor to present some of them to you tonight. We will start with Dr. Henk Fransen from Holland. He is our first speaker. He will also be the first speaker at the Holistic Europe conference that will take place in March 2018. He is a medical doctor. He has studied many alternative healing techniques, written lots of books about healing cancer. He has also worked with experts in China, and now he is building the first chemical-free hospital in Holland. Hello, Henk, and welcome to the webinar.
Hi, thank you, Camilla.
Thank you so much for taking your time tonight, Henk, and talking to our audience about healing cancer, about immunity. We have some questions here, and we can maybe add some if our viewers will come to that. The first question that we have here for you is, what can we do to avoid the traditional winter illnesses? There are so many people around who are getting sick predominantly in winter and before Christmas. Is there something we can do?
Interesting question. You start so little. You know, I work already 25 years, especially with people with cancer. And that's more an end stage of all these diseases we have in the West with our lifestyle. And everything often starts with colds and flus. This is a very good question. I also like that you say, what can we do to prevent it? I think prevention is the essence of medicine. And I also think that it's so much easier to prevent things than to treat them if you have them, even if it's only a flu, right?
Yeah.
And you can say, if you already have a cold, you can support the body in that. There are some natural supplements to strengthen the immune system and help it, support it to get the bacteria and viruses out. You can also do very simple things to help the body to get rid of toxins, because you can say a cold or a flu, we often get that because there are accumulated too many toxins in the body and the body tries to get rid of it. So drink enough so the toxins can go out of the kidneys. You can do coffee enemas or other enemas to support the liver in getting toxins out. Breathing exercises, going to the sauna in a light way, all can help the body to get rid of toxins. And really in the beginning of a cold, if you take a few grams of vitamin C, you can often stop a cold. But if you say, what can we do to prevent it? Then it has to do a lot with our lifestyle. And what I said, not only colds and flus, but even diseases like cancer. Researchers worldwide say that we could diminish cancer with 80% only by getting a little bit better lifestyles. So very important to do that. And then you can say what I said, that there are too many toxins accumulated in the body, so we should do things to get toxins outside of our body, not let it come inside. And the most important thing in that way where we get toxins in is with our food. So natural biological food, then you strengthen the body with a lot of healthy substances and you do not get toxins inside. And then you can do, like I said, a lot to support the body to get rid of toxins that can come in by breathing and movement. Breathing, we get a lot of toxins out with breathing, and moving really makes that the blood in the body circulates. Mm-hmm. We can do some things to support the liver and drink enough to support detoxifying by the kidneys. But the most important thing to detoxify for the body is that it's not stressed. We can do many healthy things for the body, but if the body constantly is in stress by our lifestyle, the immune system and detoxifying of the body is on a very, very low level. So we should also take a balance. There's nothing wrong with stress, but there must be enough relaxation at the same time.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about breathing, Henk. Is there any really simple tip how to breathe? Because many people don't even realize that they breathe in the wrong way.
Yeah, that's true. The most simple way to enhance breathing is by doing a little bit of sport. And then you combine in a nice way circulation of the blood so that all the oxygen you breathe goes to the cells, and all the toxins that the cell bring into the blood can go to the lungs. So a little bit of movement with the body, doing sport you like, without sporting really as pressure, as that you, I don't know how they say that in English, but that you sport in red, that you stress the body too much, just in a nice way is very effective. And then there's a very simple breathing technique that you breathe in a few seconds, say 3 seconds, that you then hold the breath 4 times longer. So 4 times 3 makes 12 seconds, and breathe out slowly in 2 times that you breathe in, so 6 seconds. So 3, 12, 6, and that 10 times really detoxifies the body and brings a lot of oxygen in the system. You can even get a little bit dizzy in the beginning, so sit down, don't stand.
What about people who cannot exercise, who are already sick? And you have surely come across many people like that in your in your previous years, looking after people with cancer. Is there something they can do with physical education?
Yeah, I see that the patients that perform the best, so they survive the most, they always do this movement even in bed. They, a few times a day in bed, they practice pulling themselves up. Before anybody else, they want to go to the toilet. They walk a little bit on the corridor in the hospital. So movement can be very simple, but the body needs this movement. Otherwise, the bloodstream slows down and then it gets toxic. And then you have something really interesting, which is when we mentally exercise, it has a not as strong as if you really exercise, but it has a strong influence on the body. So if we imagine we do a yoga posture, it has almost 60-70% of the effect that you really do it. And that we also practice with athletes, that besides the physical training, if they imagine doing it, this is also very effective. And can be very happy to do also if you are in your bed.
Oh yeah, I guess that some people may interpret this the wrong way, that they don't need to exercise at all. They can just imagine exercising. But yeah, that's a good tip for somebody who is not lucky enough and cannot just get up and do some physical exercise.
But also this other person that does not want to exercise, but really imagines in his head that he is running. That's also the beauty of our potential as creators. If we imagine something, it becomes a reality. And if someone continuously imagines he is running, sooner or later he finds himself running in the street. That cannot be different.
Excellent. Henk, could you just summarize maybe for our listeners the information that you've just given us, and focus on the immune system? What can we do now to boost it in order to avoid illnesses and infections?
In my workshops, in my lectures, and also in the next conference in Prague, which we are going to give, I use a very simple model that you can boost the immune system on 5 levels. The physical level of the body, the emotional level, our emotions, the mental level by our thoughts, the social level by our relationships, and the spiritual level, our soul, our inspiration. And on all these levels, most people only think about food or about supplements even. But on the physical level, they are much stronger. Like we can live for months without food, but only 2 weeks without water, and only a few minutes without oxygen. So breathing on the physical level is one of the most potent. But on all these levels, we can take simple measurements to improve our health. And we will discuss this in detail and very nicely in the conference.
Excellent. Henk, thank you very much. If we have any further questions for you from our listeners, we will come back to you. What I would like to do now, because Henk mentioned stress several times, and if we talk about stress, and I'm sure that many of you are stressed at the moment with Christmas shopping and getting through crowds of people and finalizing lots of things at work, we have somebody who can talk a lot about stress. Let me introduce our next speaker, and that is Jeremie Mercier. Jeremie is many things. He can cover so many things, I can tell you. He got his PhD in environmental research. He is the Hippocrates Health Institute educator, natural health coach, holistic therapist, and he was actually trained by a pioneer of holistic medicine in Europe, Christian Talschale. Did I forget anything, Jeremie?
Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Probably more.
What did you say? Sorry.
And probably more.
Yeah, I was. Thank you for this introduction. I was very pleased to hear Dr. Henk talking this way. It's so rare, and his idea, his project of creating the first medicine-free, drug-free hospital in the Netherlands is just amazing. I think I highly support this type of achievement. It's really, really amazing. So that said,
I agree, and I can't wait to see him at the conference in March, and you, of course. Jeremie, can you tell us? I have a few questions here for you, and one of them is definitely about stress, because people would like to know what can be done, some easy tips, to get rid of the stress, because now obviously lots of us are stressed, and not you obviously, because what I didn't tell our viewers is that you are you said, was it Costa Rica?
Yes, Costa Rica right now. Yeah.
So no stress, obviously, on your side, but what can we do? Who are
doing good
here in Europe and it's cold?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm also here because I'm going to meet some very healthy and elderly people in the Nicoya Peninsula next week, which is one of the blue zones where people, so there are 5 blue zones in the world where people live a healthy, long life. And I'm going to meet centenarians next week to ask them questions about the lifestyle, because there are secrets regarding this longevity, this exceptional longevity. And one of them is definitely food, and the other one is stress reduction. And you're right, I'm feeling pretty stress-free right now in Costa Rica. And I can understand that many people right now, especially in Europe, but a bit everywhere in the world, are getting stressed out because of Christmas coming. So lots of things to prepare, lots of family to meet, lots of maybe presents to find for friends and family. So that can be super stressful, especially because everybody's in a rush. We have our lives are so packed and full of so many things that we don't have time for ourselves. And I'm going to explain during the conference in March, but I can try to make an introduction right now about how I see stress and what are very easy ways to get rid of stress or release stress. So first of all, stress to me is a consequence of unreleased or trapped emotions in our body. And to me, the best way to release emotions is through the body. And it's actually very simple, because you have 3 types of individuals that easily release emotions and stress. And those 3 types of individuals are very young kids, until 1 or 2 years old, animals, and what I would call natural people, or like tribes. There are still a few tribes in the world where people have some kind of emotional hygiene, so they know what to do with their emotions. They know how to get rid of stress, because stress is something that you can easily just let out of your body. And their way of doing it, just think for 2 minutes about a small kid. Their way of doing it is not at all intellectual. They look like crazy. They will be like shouting and crying and making like strange gestures, grins and stuff like that. Imagine a small kid, how they behave when they are stressed and they want to release emotions. And unfortunately, as adults, as grown-ups, have forgotten how to do that. We had the wisdom of, we were connected to what's in our DNA, which is telling us how we should behave when we have emotions and stress. And we have been told so many times during our childhood to get to stop being angry, to stop crying, to stop shouting, to stop being ourselves, basically, that we don't know any longer how to deal with stress. And this is very toxic. To me, trapped emotions and stress that is kept in the body is maybe even more toxic than not the best food, let's say. It's more toxic than junk food. So I would strongly urge people to find a way to release stress. And the one I'm mentioning is super easy. Like, I want just to show you a quick, very simple example. In the morning, when you feel to get rid of the tension that are going to happen in the day, like as a prevention technique, or to get rid of the tensions even from the night you had, you can start the morning just by looking at you in the mirror and starting to make grins like, but you have to make the grins with the sound. If there is no sound, it won't be very powerful. It will be just like, you making gesture, which is nice already, because it's going to, release some tensions, lots of tensions in the muscles of your face. But if you want to go deeper, it will be even nicer if you add sound, like crazy sound. Just feel like, for instance, like you are a monster, like, Rah! Just make like very funny, crazy gestures, and you will feel the difference. And I suggest you do that for half a minute. It doesn't have to be long, like 30 seconds. For half a minute, you will just shout, but be careful. Don't go beyond the point of maximum intensity that's still pleasurable. If it starts hurting your throat, if it starts hurting any muscle in your body because you're going too strong, then you're not doing it right. It has to be very enjoyable. And you do those grins with those sounds, those crazy gestures for 30 seconds to 1 minute at the maximum intensity of pleasure and power, and that's it. And you will feel super, super distressed and happy. And during this pre-Christmas time, I suggest that you do that every day, maybe twice a day, for instance, and you will see an amazing difference in your energy in the day, and you will be more available to your friends and family that you see during the Christmas period, and life will be totally different. I can assure that.
I guess, Jeremie, that before we do that every single morning, we have to inform all the family members that this is happening. Otherwise, they will call somebody, ticket, and will shoot us right to asylum.
So I suggest you do that in some place where you are isolated. You can't do. I mean, socially, it's not accepted to do that, because you've been told from your childhood that it was the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't do that in your office. You don't do that during the dinner with your parents and family. You do that in some spots where nobody sees you and nobody can hear you. If you cannot avoid. I mean, if you want to do sound, but you cannot because there are people not far or because the installation of your house is not very good, very efficient, then I suggest you don't do the sound, but just the breathing, like a strong breathing, like rather than shouting. And this will be a bit less powerful, but still very, very, very powerful anyway, and very easy to do wherever you are. So there is no excuse.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Jeremie. I can't wait.
You're welcome.
To see you at the conference, how you are teaching us how to do that. I think it will be hilarious.
We'll have lots of fun. I've done that in front of many people, and it's just crazy and so funny to see like hundreds of people doing it together, and the energy is you're going to love it, all of it.
I'm sure we will. There is another question there for you, Jeremie, and it is about another thing that I know you know a lot about, and you are an expert in it, and that is the detox of the body. Dr. Henk Fransen has mentioned quite a lot about detox. Is there something that you would recommend to us to do in winter now? Is it actually good to do a detox in winter, or because most people just leave it for spring, don't they?
Yeah, you're right. Many people think that detox should be done during the spring or during the fall period. In my view, the best time to do detox is now, basically. So whatever now means. So if it's winter, then winter is good. And I'm a very strong fan of the liver cleanse that I'm sure Dr. Henk knows about. And it's a cleanse that can be done actually very easily with natural ingredients, and I'm not sure I will have time to talk about this cleanse during the conference in Prague, but I strongly suggest like people to do this cleanse, because the liver is such an important organ, and I've seen so many people do better once the liver is cleansed in terms of energy during the day, in terms of sleeping, in terms of even pain in their joints or muscles, in terms of digestion and all that. So it's really a very, very interesting detox, if we can say that. And I would actually suggest to do it maybe after Christmas. And my other suggestion would also be to avoid intoxicating too much during Christmas, because that's a tendency to eat like super like too much dairy, too much sugar, too much meat products during Christmas. And I mean, you can celebrate the end of the year in a different way by eating. You don't have to be an ascetic. You don't have to be like a prisoner of some kind of super healthy lifestyle. But I suggest that you eat maybe less. You don't have to overload yourself with food during Christmas. You don't have to eat that many chocolates, but take a few of them and just enjoy them rather than taking loads of crappy chocolates. and after Christmas time, then the liver cleanse is a super very powerful cleanse that I strongly suggest you do. Yeah.
Okay, Jeremie, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
If there are some more questions coming your way, we will let you know.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, guys, how are you doing? I hope that you are enjoying our webinar, and that you are learning something maybe that you haven't heard before. I have another guest for you now. Her name is Flora Douville, and she is an anti-conformist artist and author. I absolutely love Flora's motto, which is that there is beauty in everything and everyone. Hi, Flora.
Hello.
Hi,
Camilla.
Well, as you know, we had some questions for you that are related to clothing.
Yes.
And, which is a little bit ironic, Flora, because you also are in Costa Rica and you don't need any clothing at all because it is so hot there.
Yeah, I could go naked, basically.
Okay, I'm glad that you didn't do it for the webinar.
Yeah.
can you tell us, because this is an interesting one, and whenever I talk to people about the upcoming conference and about the speakers, and when I spoke about you, they're like, okay, what is she going to talk about? Clothing, how is it related to our health? So can you tell us, is it important for our health, mental and physical, how we dress, what we wear?
I think it was cut a little bit, so I'm not sure. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question was if it was at all important, to think about what we wear for our health, because most people think it's really a ridiculous advice or piece of information.
Yeah.
It is important.
Yeah. So most people think that clothing is something very superficial, that it doesn't really matter. What matters is the like physical, the body health, and the soul, and the deep work we can do, and the heart, and the way we deal with each other. But like clothing, it's something that we shouldn't really spend time on, or we shouldn't care about. The thing is that I believe that everything is energy. We are made of energy, and everything around us, be it the natural environment, but also the objects that we create, are made of energy. And our clothes are actually in our energetic field every day for like 12 hours or sometimes more. We wear them very, very close to our bodies, and their energy actually impacts our own energy. So this is why, to me, the clothes that we wear are actually very important, because they have an impact on our own energy. And a very simple way to understand that is to think of one time, and I'm sure that everybody has at least once in their life experienced this, is to think of that one time where you try a garment, you try a piece of clothing, and you feel so bad that you just need to take it off. It's very, very uncomfortable. It's too stiff. It's cold. It's maybe it's too tight, or too like too close to your skin. It feels like the skin of a snake, or it's very the impressions or the feelings that we will have are very different from one person to another. But I'm sure that everybody has already experienced at least once in their life this thing of putting something that really doesn't work for them. And why doesn't it work for us, that piece of garment? It's just because it's not made of the right energy for us. And for me, the wrong garment will be something, but for Jeremie, who is sitting next to me, it will be something very different. I mean, the feeling that he will have in the thing that I hate might be super interesting for him, might be super comfortable, might be very nice, and he might want to wear it. So this is just a matter of energy. And so the energy of what we wear impacts our own. And if it impacts our own energy, in the end, it can impact the way we think, the way we feel, the way our body functions, because it comes after a time. It will start impacting deeper and deeper into our body.
Mm-hmm. What we spoke about, and it was interesting for me to learn that you work not only with women, because most people think that only women are interested in what they wear. But
Yes.
you are helping lots of men as well. And one of the most interesting topics for me are colors. And we had a question here for you that was related to colors, because I guess many people who are listening to us right now came across the concept that we all should wear different colors depending on our type. But is there a different, first of all, do you agree with that? And secondly, are there different colors that we should wear depending on season? Now in winter, are there colors that we should wear and then change it for spring or summer? Can you tell us something about that?
So to me, fashion has it all wrong. So fashion is something that has been created so that we can like renew our wardrobes every season, and at each change of season, fashion and trends, they just bring new color combinations, new things, new styles. But this is just something, to me, this is just marketing. We have, although we can feel differently every day, we have a core essence that remains the same. And this is why I can, when I meet you, Camilla, I can recognize you, and I can feel some like a vibe or an essence that is still the same, day after day, week after week, year after year, because that's I can feel who you are. Mm-hmm. And what I'm addressing when I work with my clients is exactly this. It's this core essence. And our core essence doesn't need something different every day, every week, or every season. So we do not need to change what we wear according to the season. We need to find what is really resonating with us, what is really good for us, and that doesn't change. What will change is maybe the type of fibers that we're going to wear, because in winter, if we are in Europe, we might need something that's warmer. So we will look for things that are thicker, that are warmer, and maybe softer and thinner and lighter for the summer. But that's it. Regarding colors and fabrics, textures and shapes of clothing, our core essence is not changing from season to season. And so we have a type. We have certain colors that really work for us, certain textures and certain shapes, and we do not need to change over time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for that. I think people who will take this to heart will save a lot of money.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, what I do with my clients is that I help them understand exactly what works for them. And once they have found that, first, they are very they're more picky with what they're going to buy, so they stop buying everything that they see and end up not even wearing because they don't really feel good in them. So they start buying more consciously what really works for them, and then once they have made their wardrobe really works for them in a way that's out of time, so that they don't look fashionable, but they don't look out of fashion either. They just look like who they are, and so they can invest in better quality, in like beautiful pieces of clothing that they will keep for longer, because they know they feel good in them and they look good in them, and that's really aligned on who they are deeply.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Later. Thanks. Okay, I have another question for our listeners or viewers, and that is about water. I would like to know, and if you have time, put it in the chat below the window. I would like to know how much water everybody drinks per day. Because
how much?
No, that's not a question for you, Flora. It's move into our next speaker, because
perfect.
You will need a lot because you are in a hot environment.
Yes.
But it would be interesting to know from our viewers how much water they drink per day. And I guess, again, it's individual, but I truly believe there are so many things that we don't know about water, or we never heard about water. One of them, for instance, and for me it was an interesting thing to learn, was that water has a memory. I had no idea, and we won't have time today to talk about that, but obviously our next speaker will talk about it during the conference that will take place in Prague at the end of March next year. So let me introduce Diana Siswartonova. Diana Siswartonova is an independent water consultant with a holistic approach to water purification, revitalization, and decontamination. She's supporting not only individuals if they have some questions about water, but she's also helping companies on various projects, whether they are building wells or spas, and she's helping even hotels and restaurants who are conscious and who really want to do something about the quality of their water. Hello, Diana, welcome.
Hello, good evening. from Prague.
Diana, we have so many questions, but I have selected 2 of them that are, I would say, very practical, and I guess most people are asking the same questions all the time. The first one would be about the water that we use on a daily basis. Is there anything we can do if we are on a very low budget and we haven't got money to spend on some sophisticated filtering systems? So is there something we can do on a very low budget in order to improve the quality of the water that we have at home?
Well, depending where you are, because every water is different, and every water remembers anything that it came in contact with, and it remembers it in its molecular structure. So what I would suggest, let's say tap water. Most people have access to tap water, at least in the western part of the world. So what we can do, we can use all different kinds of filters. You can buy even the cheapest filters. You can have more sophisticated filters, but one important thing is that the water quality has 2 components. One is that the water has to be pure, clean as possible, and then the other thing is that the water ideally should be ennobled or revitalized. What it means is that this water, as we said, it holds memory of all the chemicals, or of all the things that it came into contact with. So when there are different methods how to get rid of this information, because even if you get out the toxins out of the water still behaves to a certain extent like if the toxins were still present in the water. It reacts with the living organism in a way like the toxic things were still there. And the best way I prefer is mechanically to let the water flow through a vortex, because in a vortex the water loses this arrangement that it acquired when it encountered the toxic material, and in this very universal movement and natural movement in which galaxies are created, protons and electrons, all the quantum world oscillates in this vortex movement. All the energies swirl in this movement. So water gets rid of the memory, so-called memory, and is attuned to these higher universal processes. And when we drink such water, this water brings order into our organism.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different technologies. There are many different technologies that you can use for your tap or shower. And but the thing is, there is not yet an official approach to testing of these methods, although there are testing methods of the structural properties of water or of the vital properties of water, but they are still not official. They are unofficial, but usually the good technologies, the good gadgets do have some kind of testing of this kind as a proof that it really works, because the extent to which these different water improving revitalizers, regenerators work is very different.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So first the water should be purified, and then it should be revitalized.
Okay, so do I understand correctly that if families are on a very low budget, that any filtering would be better than nothing, right?
Yes,
Because,
yes, especially the tap water. It's
even like those little Brita kettles and
yes, yes, very good. And then you just use you can use also manual revitalizers, and you let the water flow through a vortex. You can use also jars in which you have crystals like quartz or the rose quartz, or shungite, and it's good to experiment also with it, because not only it is beautiful, but it is also it changes the properties of the water, and you can very well feel it in your mouth. You can taste the water, and you see that the water tastes different. When I use these devices at home, and I also love to use the crystals in the water because it's very beautiful, then most often people, the non-believers, when they try the water, they say, "Oh, it's sweet. It's somehow sweet. The water is really is sweeter. It's more like oily, kind of oily, round. It's different. You really can taste it. If you drink the water, you can taste the difference. I think you know."
I've tried that before, and you are right. I think if it's at some stage, I don't even care if it helps. Of course, I can taste the difference often, but it really looks beautiful. And there are actually some scientific studies that people can find out and read that show the difference, or prove that some of the stones can actually really improve the quality of water or change it for the better. Diana, we have another question here for you, and it is something that many people talk about and ask questions about, and that is bottled water. Because obviously some people drink tap water. Now we know that it would be better, definitely, unless you are on Iceland or somewhere where the water is absolutely pure, even the tap water, that you should filter it and make sure that you get rid of the chemicals, etc. But how about bottled water? Because you can buy so many different types of water when you go to a supermarket. Something is in glass, something is in plastic. Some water has got very high pH. Some water has got very lower pH. Can you just briefly tell us what kind of water you would go for, and how should we treat the bottled water when we buy it and bring it home? What shall we do with it?
Yeah, well, I drink bottled water only when I forget my own water that I carry with me. So first I would choose water that's bottled in a glass. If I know that the water is good, like spring water, or at least here in Czech Republic, we have different classification, and the best water is water for newborn babies, water that is suitable for babies. It's usually very low in minerals. It is very pure water, but the same thing applies, as I said, about the tap water. You have one thing is that the water is pure, and another thing is that the water is revitalized. Today you have different type of also bottles that you can carry with you that are able to change the quality of your water in the sense, I mean, to revitalize it, to order the molecules inside the water, to make it more ordered, more structured. Okay. So because when the water is ordered, when the molecules are not in chaos, the water is more able to conduct energy, signals, information, because water in our bodies is extremely well ordered if our bodies are healthy. So when we drink this type of water, it is not that much the chemical composition, but the order in which this composition is organized.
And what about storing water, bottled water at home, Diana? Because I remember you explained to me how I should store water, and many people still don't know what to do with it. They just put it anywhere.
Yeah, well, water loves darkness and cool environment. So it is definitely not good to have water in a plastic. Of course, I think everybody knows that plastic leaks into the water, but maybe there are good forms of plastic which where the leakage is really minimized, but it's still a plastic. So if you can store what ideally in a glass or in ceramic. In the ceramic, in the past, there was ideal form was an egg form, like amphoras or egg containers in many parts of the world. It was because this form allows for spontaneous movement of the liquid inside, liquid or oil, and especially if the material was like pottery. So there was a slightly cooler water on the surface or by the walls, and the difference between the sides and the center of the container creates dynamics, and the shape allows for the movement, for the spontaneous movement, infinite movement, in fact.
Okay.
So so the water is never stagnant, and it sort of charges itself with energy.
Excellent. Diana, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I definitely listen to your advice, and I keep water in dark, cool places. Thank you so much, Diana. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And see you in March in
See
France.
you. Yeah, see you.
Okay, let's move from water. We are approaching 8 o'clock in Central Europe, and we just heard some advice about water. And I would like to move to something slightly different. So I'll show you what I am drinking here, and I will make our next speaker very happy, I'm sure, because I have my raw vegetable smoothie here with me. Our next speaker is Suzanne Poot. She's, hi, Suzanne.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. She is from Holland, as Dr. Henk Fransen. And Suzanne is very passionate about raw plant food, plant-based diets in general. She is a raw health coach, Hippocrates Institute health educator, public speaker, writer. Again, if I forgot something, Suzanne, let me know.
That's it.
I think what I wanted to mention is that your book, Raw, Naked and Healthy, has sold in 15 countries. So I guess there's definitely some information people can get from you if they want to.
Yeah, correct.
Suzanne, we have again probably a couple of questions that I selected here for you. And they are about obviously Christmas. Again, we are approaching Christmas. Jeremie has mentioned quite a lot about what we should and shouldn't eat, and that we should be careful about it. How about raw foodists? And because that's a huge movement now.
It is. And it's growing.
But it's relatively cold, isn't it? Everything is relatively cold.
It is.
It is obviously it is raw. What can raw foodists do at Christmas?
Well, I think the nicest thing about raw foods is that you can also dehydrate your food, and then you have a dehydrator, and then you can slightly warm it up a little bit, so you won't heat it up above 42 degrees Celsius, but you can have like a little soft, warm touch on your food, and you can make lovely nut burgers, for instance, or little meatballs, but then made of nuts and seeds. Mm-hmm. So in that way, you can, if you use the dehydrator, then you have that warm touch in your food on your plate, and that's nice to play everything, but it's, and also what you can do is what I suggest to do is that when you make like a vegan raw lasagna, for instance, then you do have the idea that it is warm, but then you can just fill it up with some nice burger things on the side, and then you have the idea that it is warmer, you know, instead of a salad. You know what I mean? It's like a different mind thing, and then you have another taste, another bite with your food instead of a cold salad only.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a nice idea, but you can experience a lot. So, you know, you can do a lot of things with raw food and with the dehydrator, like I said. So it's never boring, and it's never only cold food, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And furthermore, if I think also in wintertime, if you want to eat raw, or if you want to eat like plant-based food, because that's my intention in general, to eat like plant-based food, and then preferably 100% plant-based food. I think in wintertime, I'm from Holland, I live in Holland, and it's really cold now. It's like, I think it's 5 degrees or something. I'm having a cold time too now, and I believe my body wants to have some soup or something warmer than just only raw food or not above the 42 degrees Celsius. So I do eat, in wintertime, I do eat like cooked food or heated food.
Mm-hmm.
Not heated, but a little bit heated to get the warm feeling. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
I would do it like that.
Yeah. What about people who are watching us and they are not raw foodists or vegetarians or even, you know, or vegans?
Mm.
Is there something they can do to make their Christmas menus a little bit healthier?
Yeah. I would definitely skip the meat and the dairy, because it will lower your energy. It can make you ill. It can have so much negative impact on your health in general. And furthermore, I don't think it's like I don't think it's a loving way of eating, and especially during Christmas time. But what you can make, for instance, is like a vegan cheese. You can make real easy. You can make vegan cheese. It's really delicious. And you don't have the animal cruelty, and it's really good for your health. And you just need like a little piece, and you can make it with almonds or cashews, and it's really a nice flavor. So I can really recommend that to make the transfer from dairy or meat to vegan or vegetarian. So yeah, that's a good idea.
I guess simply to whatever people want to eat, because I know really many people who can't imagine their Christmas without their traditional meal.
Yeah.
But listening to you, I guess it is okay, but we can make it healthier by adding a few things that are healthy options, because obviously we will replace some of that unhealthy with something healthier.
Well, I think it's also I think it's a thing of the mind. It's a mindset thing, because when I look at my plate, once I start eating, and I don't care if it's like Christmas or a day like today, I look at my plate and I want to eat healthy food. I want to eat food that I can eat, and then look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm fine with this food and I can eat it. It's like cruelty-free, and it's good for my health, and it's nurturing me. And I think when we start looking at our food from this point of view, instead of just it's nice taste, it's a nice flavor, it looks good. It does have to look good. It looks good, but that's important too. But I think if we start looking at it like a healthy point of view, and like it's nice for the animals and everything, then we get a whole different perspective on eating. And once we start thinking about energy in our food, and the other speakers here were mentioning it also, it's all about energy, and our food is also energy. So once you start to incorporate more raw food, more plant-based food, and I don't care if it's like completely raw or not, just use the plant-based foods, then you get more energy, more vitamins, more minerals and everything inside of your body that nurtures you really back to health and back to mental health also. So I think Christmas time is really the most the best time to do so with your family, because don't we all want to nurture our family with the best food possible instead of just eating and don't think about it and just feeling exhausted and like crap once you're finished. So I think it's a whole different way of looking at our food. And if you look at it that way, and you make your vegan cheese and you make your vegan lasagna or your raw vegan lasagna, it's really the best way. And you can start a really healthy and a happy and cruelty-free Christmas. I think it's the best way. And then you can really enjoy having fun with each other. So
you are absolutely right. And you just reminded me of something that I read, because by no means I believe that we would turn everybody into raw veganism and stuff like that. And I think different people just need different things. We are so individual. But one good advice that I follow and I think is really good is that you start adding the good stuff. You don't need to get rid of anything. If you like it, by all means have it.
Yeah.
Start
but
adding.
just think about your food. Think what you eat and what it does to your body, and try something different. Try the plant-based food and then add a little bit more and see what it does to your health, like physically, but also mentally.
Experiment. And at the end of the day, if we start adding good things, eventually some of the bad things will get out. Simply because there is only as much that we can eat.
Yeah. And furthermore, if you eat plant-based food and you eat good plant-based food, then you won't have to eat a lot. Because once you start adding the green juices or the smoothies or the sprouts, and I can talk like hours about this, but but once you start eating the really good food, then you don't need all that much food, and you feel when you're done eating, you have more energy than when you started. And like a few years ago, or I think at least 7 years ago, because I started eating this way in 2011, so maybe in 2010, once I ate a plate in that time, I was really exhausted after when I ate. And now I have more energy, because I think that's the idea. Once you ate, once you have had your meal, you should have energy. And a lot of people don't have it. So
most people need a nap after food.
Yeah. I think that's a pity, especially at Christmas time. It's a waste of time. So it's better to drink a green juice like before dinner or something, or an hour before dinner. And just put your green juice in like a champagne glass. It's like a party. Really, it's that simple. Just make it simple and make it like a feast. It's really nice.
Thank you, Suzanne, because I'm sure I will have some champagne, but I will follow it by something like that.
Yeah, do it both. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, what I would like to do now, thank you so much for watching us. And we also had Malvera Ratne in the program, who was supposed to talk about tantric massage and sexuality. But unfortunately, Mal couldn't make it today. So we have a little bit time because originally we planned an hour and a half. So what I would like to do, first of all, thank you for staying with us and talking or listening to our experts. We also have a little Christmas present for you, because for a limited time now, only for you, we have an offer, early bird offer on our conference tickets. And as I mentioned a few times before, our conference will take place in the beautiful city of Prague in Czech Republic, in the Bethlehem Chapel on March 24th and 25th, 2018. All the speakers that you have seen today will be there, and we will have many more speakers there covering lots of other subjects. So you are more than welcome. You can buy your tickets now. They will be in sale. Also, another important piece of information, we have lots of people who registered from the Czech Republic today. Thank you very much. Dobrý večer všichni. What I would like to say is that we will be translating this webinar putting Czech subtitles there, and it will be also available to you if you want to share it with your friends or family. So that'll be all for the moment. But what I would like to do is, because we saved some time, because as I said, Malveratne couldn't make it, and say goodbyes to each individual speaker from tonight, and maybe ask them if they have some last piece of advice or something they just thought about listening to other speakers. So can we please go back to Dr. Henk Fransen, if he's there? I don't see him at the moment. Let's start with Jeremie then. Jeremie, I can see you are there.
Yeah. So did you get any question for me, maybe?
We haven't got any more questions for you, but I would say based on what you just heard, is there anything else that crossed your mind and you thought, well, I should have told people this?
I really enjoyed Suzanne's presentation about our food choices and how it impacts our health. And I also enjoyed the fact that she mentioned the possibility to be flexible. Like, you don't have to be radical to have a good health, but it's really important every day to think about what you put in your mouth, because this is the fuel that's going to give you the energy for your body to live and to live fully. And if you don't realize the importance of your food choices, then you might regret it. But the problem is that most people don't make any connection between what they eat and what their life looks like. Mm-hmm. And they don't make any relationship between the disease they might have, the symptoms they might suffer from, and what they eat. And that's really too bad, because once you do, and it doesn't have to be super complicated or super expensive or super time consuming, but once you do the right food choices, you can totally change your life. And it's such an like dismissed topic, and I'm really glad that we're going to have an intervention on food choices and health. And I will also talk about food choices and the environment during our conference in Prague.
Okay, Jeremie, thank you so much. Enjoy your time in Costa Rica, and I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon. Bye, Jeremie. Flora, I actually have one additional question for you, and yes. It's funny because Suzanne reminded me of that a little bit, because she's got this wonderful, very festive top. There was one question for you, and it was about the clothing that we wear now at Christmas time and New Year's Eve. Everything is glittery and predominantly black. If you go to a New Year's party, most people are in black. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, so black is way overrated. Black is a very specific color that actually takes all the light and doesn't reflect anything back, which is why it's black. Any other color actually reflects a part of the spectrum of the light, which gives something back, but black doesn't. So it's very specific. And energetically, it's a very strong and harsh color, and it's only a small proportion of people on Earth actually can support energetically black. And so my advice would be to not wear black, because even if you are in that small portion of people who can tolerate black energetically, you can wear other colors too. And so my suggestion would be to wear something different than black, and try to wear something that you feel good in, and that a color that when you look at yourself in the mirror, actually you can feel that it complements your skin and your face and your energy, instead of that black that we kind of go to because it's easy, because it's everywhere. And so try something new, try something different. And if you're not convinced, look around in the street and look at, like, in the public transportation and everywhere, people wear black and gray. It's so sad, and we look like sad human beings. We could wear a lot of different colors, and we just don't in winter, which is ridiculous, because that's the time of year where we actually need most light and colors in our life, because we don't have much light during the day. So for this time of year, I invite you to pick something different, put some color, wear some color that you feel good in, and just put black aside.
Okay. Flora, thank you very much. Enjoy the beautiful weather there, and see you in March.
Yes.
Bye. Diana, can you do you have anything you wanted to add to the conversation after listening to the other speakers?
Yes, maybe one thing. I was also inspired what Suzanne said. So I would recommend people to really to experiment, because we are just so much used to water that we just open the tap and it just flows. So please just experiment with the water, taste the difference, and be conscious when you drink the water. Just stop thinking about anything else. Just think of what you are doing. So because we just mentioned that water has a memory, so water is actually a medium that is able to materialize the subtle energies. So be very conscious of what you are thinking when you drink. Not only taste the water, but when you drink, be aware that you are drinking, and that the water that's coming into you can bring you life instead of anything that can be stressful. So just that, and experiment with this, and observe yourself how you feel when you really drink a lot, because a lot means to drink normally. The older we are, we stop having the impulses in the body that we are thirsty. The body, when we start, maybe I've read it, it was from the studies, it comes out that after maybe 20 years of age, we stop, the body stops to give out signals that we are thirsty. So we don't feel thirsty, but our body is thirsty. So just drink plenty and be aware what you are drinking, and just focus on the water when you drink.
Thank you.
Observe what it does to you.
Thank you so much, Diana. And I hope I'll see you in Prague very soon.
Yes, see you. See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.
Guys, it looks like Dr. Henk Fransen is still not with us, so maybe we can go back to Suzanne. Suzanne, you have inspired so many people today.
So I hear, but the other people inspire me too. And I know, because the water, just the talk about the water, I just love the water and the miracle in water. So I agree with Diane, is her name, right?
Yes.
Yes, I agree with her really a whole lot, because I also filter my water always. I always bring my water with me, and I know water is energy, and the colors are also energy. So I agree with the color, and she is inspiring me also. So yeah. I love this, all these speakers, it all comes together, and what I see is everything is energy, and everything is what it does to you and your body and your mind, and it's all connected with each other. So I think that's the beauty in it, and that's also the beauty of this conference, that it will all come together and we can all inspire people and each other in March. So it's really it's an honor for me to be here, and I'm really looking forward to meet the other speakers also in live person in March. So with our colorful suits on.
Yeah, we'll change for that. Suzanne, thank you so much. It was lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
And again, looking forward to seeing you in March.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, everybody.
Guys, it looks like we lost Dr. Henk Fransen, so we will not say a personal goodbye to him, but I would love to thank everybody online tonight, and Michal, who is in the background and organizing the whole Google Hangout event. Thank you so much for watching us, for listening to us, and if you got inspired, if you feel that there is something that you need to change in your life, please join us at the conference. We will be there. As I said, it will be in Prague at the end of March. And as mentioned previously, you can now buy tickets, early bird tickets, and we will send you some emails about it. So don't worry, you won't miss it. Thank you so much. wishing you a beautiful Christmas time. And I really hope that you will get out of the Christmas season very fit and healthy, and that you will have a wonderful 2018. Guys, thank you very much. Thanks to all of our speakers, and I hope we'll see each other very soon. Bye-bye.